Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha. Perkins just texted me, said he's driving. As soon as he gets into service, he'll log in. So I think we need him to make a quorum, right?
I believe so. Oh, shit. I just saw his name pop up.
Everybody's gone. Oh. Yeah. And where'd Rich go?
Just sent Rich a text. I don't know.
Oh, internet's not working. He's coming down here.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Good.
How's retirement treating you?
It's going very well. Can't complain.
Chris Rich may be coming up either into your office or across from up there.
No, he's not allowed.
He said the internet wasn't working down there.
Of course not. There's the knocker room right there. Now I gotta change all my settings again just for you.
Not funny.
As you can tell, nothing is rehearsed here. We do kind of ad lib every day, so. Waiting on Dustin. Is he gonna be here?
He's not here. Rich has to run the meeting. Or is there a vice? Are you vice?
Yeah,
Rich?
Oh, yeah, me.
Or whenever you're ready.
Wasn't Paul Doucette coming this also?
Yeah, I thought he said so. Do we have enough?
Got four
Yep.
right now.
All right, call to order, I guess.
A second?
All right, additions, deletions to the agenda, anybody?
No.
Okay. Moving on, approval of minutes from June 11th. All in
I read
favor?
them.
Yeah, they look good to me.
There is
Yep.
a way you can verify that those clippers.
I didn't hear that. Whoever spoke last.
I think Mark said it was good to him.
March 6th. It's good to him.
Said. On March 6th.
I'm trying to find your.
I got it right here.
There.
All right, anybody want to second that approval?
I'll second it.
Who's that? Jeremy?
Yeah, it's Jeremy.
All right, next, item is canine standards review, vote and recommendations to send to council. I think, their Director Raquel is gonna chat about this.
Yes, I'm gonna chat about it. I am not mentally prepared for you to vote and recommend. I am prepared, if you want to go through them. I've looked at the recommendations from, let me give you the explanation why I'm not ready for that. I looked at the updated current standards, changes that have been made there, which I didn't really have issues with, but then because of the way that I don't really care for the way that they're put together, and I'd like them to be much briefer and just outline, here's what you have to do to get in, here's what we offer for certification. I would just like it simplified. And so I started to work on that with a draft that Lindsay had created. And I just messed with my head and didn't get to the point that I needed to. So I'm willing to go back to your original version and go through that with you if you want, so that we can chat about any areas of concern that I have. And I do have some areas of concern that I talked to Rich about maybe a minute and a half worth, an hour or so ago. And it was really around some of the disciplines, some of the disciplines that were related to the, were you here for this meet too?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, we have another guest. Some of the disciplines around the certification standards. And so specifically, because I haven't had the time to go through them completely, but specifically the one that jumped out to me is cadaver training. And while I understand the rationale for wanting to have that in standards and a parameter set up around that, and I'm not in disagreement with that, but what I am in disagreement with is the fact that we have no practice, we have no policy, we have no MOUs with any agency. The last thing I want to be doing is worrying about having cadaver pieces here. Where do I get them? What does that agreement look like? How long are they good for? Where are they stored? All that kind of fun stuff that goes with it. So that's the brief synopsis of why I'm not ready to have you guys vote and recommend, but I'm happy to go through them if that makes sense with you today.
How many do you have like to go through? Is this gonna be,
Here's your,
no, I mean, as far as the standards, like, do you have a lot of fixes that you wanna do, or
I'd have to go through them with you to actually see.
should we just, maybe for the next meeting, I'll go over this with you, and we could just give them a summarized version,
Okay, we could do that.
okay?
Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Rather than stall your meeting of moving forward with other stuff that you want to do? But the owl?
Yep.
Okay,
It's just updating.
the owl updating that noise.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so if we're good with that, we'll just move on to the next one, if Lindsay can keep it down with the owl. All right, so the next item then would be instructor recommendation application. Lindsay, we had Logan Sells at 11 PD. He went through Canine School Mind in 2021. He wants to be an instructor for both patrol and detection. I think he was getting with Lindsay, trying to get the packet together. I don't know where that stands, but we as a committee, I guess, going forward, are going to vote on all instructors and trainers. So, Lindsay, did he get everything to you he needed to?
No, we had an initial hold up just because currently they already have an ACADA system in New Hampshire, so we were just making sure how the two systems would, or if they would conflict at all. But they don't, so just waiting on the remaining documents to be submitted through ACADIS. And then as soon as they are, I can share them with everyone to review.
Okay, so we'll hold off on that then, I guess, till next meeting as well. Or could we? I guess we should wait for the packet. All right, yeah, we'll hold off on that one as well. Next item, this was Dustin brought it up. He's not on here right now, so I don't know. It's succession basically for my position here. discussion. This is probably Director Burkell can bring up where he's at right now, I guess.
Yeah, so I've had this discussion with all of you before, and you kind of know where we were, so we had to rally for funding for a canine position, which we didn't get in our budget. And then after the budget cycle, we did get an appropriation through House appropriations that allowed us to go to the well one more time. We did get a canine position. They gave me $40,000 for a canine position, and then took away $75,000 of my contracting money to make up for giving us a position. So essentially, they gave us a position with really limited funding to do that. So we're still waiting. The canine position has been drafted, created, gone through HR, but because of the way appropriations created the position for us, it's coming from the position pool in the state. So it has to go through classification to be approved. So it's there. It's been there for, God, I want to say about 3 weeks at least now, but HR told me that classification has up to 60 days to approve that. They know through HR that this is critical for me, that like I need this so I can get it posted. So as soon as I get the approval from classification to post that, it will be posted. It's a pay grade 26, which is what I believe we got approved for. So it's essentially basically I think 125,000, which includes salary and benefits. And so it's not a bad position for somebody, but Rich will have to speak to what that looks like for him. We've explored, are there other options? There are no other options. I went through the highest ranks of HR that I could, knowing that if they want to make a deal for somebody, there's ways to make that happen. But I've been told that there is no way for them to approve someone who is currently a contractor, then becoming a state employee and still allowing them to collect retirement, unless that contractor was to go to the retirement board and have a conversation and get that approved that way. So that's kind of where I'm at. Where I'm at is that as soon as that gets approved, it's going to be posted. We'll see what we get for interest. And it leaves me in the position of, I have what you can't see here to my right. Slide on over for a second.
All right, pal.
This is Chief Doucette from Bennington PD, who's joined us. He has a new canine program down in Bennington that's fully supported and funded by his community. They recognize the importance of such a program, but he's done it the right way, and he's done it the way that he should have done it. Whereas I know that you canine handlers are familiar with this, that some agencies will just start it up on their own, not really go about the process the right way, choosing the right dog, choosing the right handler, some not even having canine policies. So we want to make sure that we're following the guidance that Rich has set us on, but I can't speak for him. And so I'll have to rely on what that means for our future. So that's the best that I can give you for a succession plan. We do have a position that was after a lot of fighting, recognizing, like, my argument to the legislature was, you can't leave the rest of the state without a canine instructor. What about every other agency that has a program and then they don't have somebody to provide that training that's council certified? So you guys know best. You know that when I speak to you, I am straightforward. You also know that there are other problems within folks that have joined other canine programs, and they're not all that they might be cracked up to be, or sounds like there's having some trouble now moving forward with certification of their program. So I stay out of that loop. I don't need to be in there. I'm just trying to work from my end for your future going forward.
Chris, what happens? So if you put this out and nobody qualified puts in for it, or is it possible? I know we put this out before and we really had
Yeah.
nobody I think we might have 1 or 2 names, but they weren't even qualified. Would that give you more pull to try to do another contract for a year? With
Yes and no.
like,
So
I mean, could you use
when
that
we-
position? Oh, I'm sorry.
when we advertised the first time, it was for a training coordinator's position. It wasn't for a canine trainer. Because Bobby's position was that of a training coordinator. He was also designated as the head trainer, but it's 2 jobs and the classification for that job was a training coordinator. So we had 2 applicants. Those people that were applicants didn't want to do that job. And I can't say that I blame them because they didn't want to do the training coordinator piece of that job. They wanted to do just canine training. So consequently, what we were told by both people that had applied was that they'd be interested in contracting, but not the position. So that's how we end up with the contracting currently that we're doing with Rich. I have to, in all transparency, do the best that I can to hire a canine trainer because 1, I had to fight really hard to get that position, and 2, the legislature feels like they did us a big favor now that they've granted us that position. That being said, if I didn't get any qualified applicants, I could, in theory, use the funding that I have of that position towards contracting. But that's, again, that's all it would be. So there's no more magical money appearing from that figure that I gave you before.
Okay. All right. So it could be kind of like using like vacancy savings towards a contract position.
Kind of, yeah. And Lindsay's more the magical one on that end of how we justify that. But yeah, I mean, we've been told theoretically that that's an option for us to do that. The problem is that what that does is it leaves everybody right now in limbo, right? 1, I don't have the position clear through classification yet. 2, as soon as I do, it's going to be advertised, so we don't know what we will get for applicants, if any.
Yep.
And 3, that's then for Rich to decide, do I want to stick around and see what happens with that or not? Like, he's got a life too to move on to, so I'm trying to recognize the trouble with all of those things, trying to balance that.
So classification has it. We don't know when their next meeting is.
No, I don't know that they have a schedule that they meet by, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I was just told that they have up to 60 days to approve it.
Yeah.
And they've had it for, I want to say, at least 20 days, if not close to 30.
Okay. And when you post it, are you gonna put like a 14-day window on it to have it opened?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, there's a part of me that says leave it open until filled because, somebody might be getting ready for retirement somewhere or have some expertise that they bring, but not till a certain date. And they might not have that window of 14 days to do it. There's the other mindset of do it for 14 days. If I don't get anybody, now I can go to plan B. But in all honesty, I think to be fair to the state and to the process that I had to go through to get that, it's more to keep it open longer to see if there's any viable applicants.
Yeah, because I think Rich said that he would work for free till this whole thing worked out anyway, so.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yikes.
the biggest problem for me too is like, I understand Rich's predicament and
Yeah.
what opportunities he has for him. My job is to fill the position I had to fight for, not to fight for one individual to get into a position. So if I did that with every contractor, I'd be voted out tomorrow. So
Yeah,
I understand his expertise, but at the same time, it was a position that not only did the legislature approve it, but now they expect to see me fill it. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
all right.
Rich, anything you care to add to that?
Nope. I'm good. Out of time. Running out of time.
See, he'll talk to all of you on the backside, but which I'm okay with, but
I talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime. I don't care. So, no, I don't really have much to add. Actually, the number you just gave, 120,000 or something, paid rate 26,
Mhm.
looks more like 60,000. Like, what step? You stepped out or what?
You gotta add
Yeah,
in the
that one
benefits.
thing. Yeah.
So-
salary
so-
benefits.
Yeah, so hourly rate is, I don't know, like $30 an hour.
Yeah, but then that hourly rate doesn't apply to the contract.
Right, I understand that, but with you saying pay grade 26, that looks more acceptable, looks like
Oh.
you say 120,000,
Right.
but it's
That-
really $30
that's-
an hour would be around 60,000 a year.
Right.
Right, so.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. So,
Have you talked to the retirement board, Rich, at all?
no, I haven't, my retirement is 20% higher than that, so I would. There's no chance, there's no reason to.
Well, I think what Chris was saying is to get an exemption to be a state employee and still collect your retirement. I think, is that what you're saying, Chris?
Let's use him as an example. If he were to be hired as a state employee, I believe the practice is he would have to stop collecting his retirement. He would be getting a new retirement, and there's no option of playing around with that I'm aware of through HR.
Okay,
Labor board or labor unions don't agree with that practice too much when start making individual, plans for folks.
all right, I guess just keep us informed once you hear from classification, I guess.
Yeah, as I told Rich, as soon as I hear from it and I get it posted, it'll be out there. You guys will know as soon as I get that. And you folks, whether you all are on the same page or not, you folks know the community of talent out there. So my hope is that your canine committee is going to help spread that word as well, looking for somebody that might have what it is that it takes.
All right, that it on that? Anybody else? All right, public comment, general discussion?
Public comment. Scott, you're coming out of retirement. You might be looking for a job. You're probably a lot easier to work with than this guy.
I'm in the same predicament as Rich.
Not a bad predicament, but in retirement, so. No public comment, motion to adjourn the meeting, and
We just asked, is there anything that I wasn't aware that you were coming to this meeting? So is there anything or any concerns that you have that you want to bring up with these guys?
No, I'm wanted to use this meeting to learn a little bit more. I mean, I read the meeting minutes from your last meeting. I just want to say publicly, Borowski just came through with Grizzly, and I think Rich has done an amazing job with Rob and Grizzly, more Rob. And I think that what I've seen for a product so far out of Grizzly is pretty amazing, and I appreciate that. And again, being new to this, we don't change anything in the first 3 to 6 months when you're new to a committee. I really want to observe and learn what you guys are all up against and see what I can do to help. And the plan was for me to take information back to the Chiefs Association, just because I sit on the executive board there as well, and I do have their ear, and I think that there needs to be support for canines in the state. Chris already said, I mean, we started out wanting to raise 15,000, and the community came together and we landed with 70 plus. So we're really tracking in Bennington, but we can't track in Bennington without an instructor like Rich. So I do have some concerns about that, but I need to learn more about this. And I do understand that Scott and Rich are in this predicament. I know as a municipal employee, we cannot retire and come back and work more than 23 hours a week without our retirement stopping. And you just start all over again and you don't get to collect your retirement. And to be honest, it's silly to do that. I was kind of doing the math in my head when you said 120, and then you got to take the benefits and all that other stuff. 60, between 60 and 70,000 would be the pay. And if he's getting, if I did the math right after what you said, 80,000 in retirement, and you're going to stop your retirement and get less money and start a new retirement. So I agree that, we should get that and put it out, see what happens. And then, if there's no good applicants, I think we got to push for the contracted position and to keep that. I like what Scott said, but I don't think Rich is willing to work for free. So, we'll just kind of go with that. But I do want to say one more time, Rich produced an amazing dog with Grizzly. He's so obedient. It's nice to see. If we could rub some of that off on Morawski, that would be amazing also. And, but I'm looking forward to being part of this committee and seeing and making sure that things are happening so we can keep the canine program going. I'm watching around the state of Vermont, and I'm not picking on anybody. If I say too much, shut me off. I'm not picking on anybody. I just don't understand how you can buy a dog and go and get 2 weeks of training because this company's already trained a dog. I'm seeing that. I'm just, I don't know, I'm just not buying that. I just don't see the bond between the handler and the dog. And so those are things that we need to watch because it seems to be more of a common practice, getting dogs from private organizations that are already trained and things. I think we need to be very careful with that. Bennington's not new to having canines. We've had canines in the past. We had Gracie, she was successful and has passed. And now we have Stark, who seems to be doing well. And we have Grizzly, who is just amazing so far. So that's where we need to be. We need to have a grassroots canine program in Vermont and not go buy your dog, get 2 weeks of training and screw up, because that's going to ruin the program for everybody. So, just my opinion.
Just for like awareness sake for some of you guys that don't know that. So for years, I worked in 2 agencies in my career in law enforcement. In my second one, we had a canine program. We had absolutely no money, less than we have actually here. But I had somebody that really wanted to start a canine program, so we did. We didn't have the ability to send that person to the full training that was taking place here at the academy. And so we went a shorter route of having a dog that was trained elsewhere by Vermont folks, and were assured that that dog would pass the certification standards, which it did. That dog was absolutely useless to my agency, and it's the only dog in my entire life that I've ever been bitten by. And so I know how those things can go bad, and no ill intent. We tried to do everything as best as we could, but it wasn't the right process that we went by. So I know how it can go bad. What I want you guys to keep in mind is that I've learned a lot from Rich in how this program works. I've learned a lot from you guys, and I'm nowhere near where I should be, but I hope that you can understand the position that I'm in that I'm really looking to make sure that we are representing all agencies in the state and providing a canine trainer for somebody when we're given a position, if that person exists. And that's really where I'm going with this and the responsibility that I have. And, on top of that, it's, I don't know how other folks, I'm completely frustrated when I can read, a couple of weeks ago in the paper, how a level 2 officer, I'll just leave it at that. A level 2 officer now is a canine officer from a canine that was trained out of state and never been here, never had a conversation with that agency about having a canine even looked at up here. So, you guys know as well as anybody, you don't need any certification to have a canine. If I want to bring my dog from the house and throw a vest around it and have it ride around in the car with me, I can do that, and I'm not breaking any laws. So people have said to me, should we be going to the legislature and, requiring certification for a canine? No, thank you. I've been that route already, and I think that would require a lot of work and have a lot of people disgruntled that way. But at the same time, when people see a canine in a vehicle, they assume that that dog is certified, and that's not the case. And the first time one of those agencies has a bad experience with a canine where it bites some kid in the face during a meet and greet or something along those lines, not only is the state gonna suffer, but so will those agencies that haven't gone about it the right way. So that's why I'm just trying to follow the direction that I should be doing. I'm gonna try to keep in mind that balance, and if, if somebody doesn't present themselves, I don't want to wait forever, because, my options then become limited. And when my options become limited, so does the rest of the state. So I know that there are people out there waiting on it, but the same question is gonna hit me every year. Well, what's the longevity of the program? If you're contracting again, you have a position, when are you gonna hire somebody? Good question. When somebody qualified comes along.
And you would think some of these agencies would see the liability risk in doing what they're doing with these dogs.
Yeah, well, until the liability hits you once, I don't think you really ever can realize the appreciation of how bad it can be.
Yeah.
Anyway, as always, you guys know where I stand. I don't want any secrets or, whether it's good news or not, you're gonna know it as soon as I know it.
All right, appreciate it.
Anybody else? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.
You guys.